Hi there, welcome to the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. I'm Nat Ryan. Today in the kitchen I'm going to show you how to make a real comfort food, homemade style macaroni and cheese. But our macaroni and cheese is going to be gluten and dairy free. So no gluten, no dairy, tastes delicious, you can make it yourself, very quick and easy. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some boiling water, well salted, and we're going to put our gluten-free pasta in the water. So this is macaroni noodles that I'm using today. I'm going to give it a little stir, and we're going to keep an eye on that, get that water boiling. So I'm going to put a timer on for about 5 minutes, just to remind ourselves that that's going. And then in another pan, we're going to turn the heat on pretty high here. So another small pan, and we're going to put some vegan margarine in there. The vegan margarine that I like to use is this, right? Whoop, there we go. So because a lot of margarines have dairy ingredients in them, even though, you know, it's margarine. So they put dairy ingredients in them in order to make them creamier and seem more like butter, even though they're not. So what we're going to need for this, we've got to melt this up. So we'll get that melted. Okay, so that's melting nicely and it's on high heat. What we're going to do is add some gluten-free 1-to-1 flour blend in with that. Pop it right into the pan with the margarine. And we're going to whisk it together until it kind of forms a paste. Now what I like to do is lift it off the heat because we don't want that to burn. And I'm actually going to, well, turn that down slightly, the heat underneath of that. And so you can see it's sort of sticky in there like that. Like it almost makes like you're making a paste or something. Then we're going to take some gluten-free oat milk. We'll put that in the pan. You can do it gradually, or I just whipped it all in there at one time. But there. And so we got the oat milk in there. We're going to give it a good old stir. Turn that back up actually. So just so that I can do this faster for you. But so we're going to get that in there. And we're going to let that get together and get it thicker. Okay. And so what you're going to see is that it's going to thicken up like this. So I like to keep a little bit more almond milk to the side, just in case I need to thin it out a little bit. So you're going to see that it gets pretty thick here. And when you're making bechamel, so this is a basic bechamel, you're going to need a little bit of salt and some nutmeg. So we're going to throw that in. Okay. And I'm going to whisk it up together. Now I have the temperature down to low now, but as you can see, it's getting pretty thick. So I like to lift it off of there. Now we're going to add some secret ingredients here. So the first thing I like to add is some pureed roasted butternut squash. Now I know this sounds really weird to put in with mac and cheese, but bear with me because this will bring the color up of your mac and cheese, so it looks more, you know, the color's right. You know, it'll look more yellowy and orangey. Okay, so there's my timer. I'm going to pull my pasta off of here. I'm going to give it a little check. First, well, I'm going to set that sauce aside there for just a second while I do this. I just like pull one out and I try one. Yep, that's good. So, well, we're going to just stick it on the heat on low because it could go probably another minute, but I've turned the heat off and I'm just going to leave it for another minute. So there's your sauce now. See, so it's nice and orange, like a light orangey color. So to that, we're going to add some dairy-free cream cheese. So I'm going to pop that into the sauce as well. And we're going to whisk that in. Now you got to work this a little bit. And if you're really, you know, in a bit of a hurry, you can always turn your heat up a little bit. As you can see, it's kind of lumpy bumpy right now. And we get that whisked in, and like I say, this is where I like to add a little tiny bit more of my oat milk. These get a little too thick, You can always add a little bit more oat milk to it, and what we're going to do is get it so it's all melted in there, so all the cream cheese is melted in there. That's what we want. And I'm going to just pull this off the heat for a second so I can drain my pasta. Be right back. Okay, so my pasta's drained here. I'm just leaving it like this, just on the side. It's not on the heat at all. And I'm just continuing with the sauce. So as you can start to see, that that cream cheese is completely melted within that. Okay, so it's a nice sort of orangey yellow color now as well. And the last thing we're going to add to that is some nutritional yeast. Now, nutritional yeast, look, you can get it in packs like this. And what that actually does is it really imparts a sort of a cheesy flavor to things. And it's kind of in a flake form, so it almost looks like bran or something. But it really gives a real cheesy flavor to things. And again, we're going to mix that in, as you can see, like that. And if you find it a little thick, again, come out with your oat milk again and just give it a tiny bit extra. And we're going to whip that together like really good with a whisk. Again, if you have a hand emulsifier, like one of those, you know, like it's like a mixer you hold by hand and you can put it in a pan, that could work for this too. You're just going to have to be careful that you don't over mix it in a way, like you're not trying to make a souffle or anything. You're just, yeah, exactly, trying to get them blended. So you can see that sauce is well blended together. Now, what you do is you take your cooked here. I'm going to take, before I do that, let's take my whisk out of there because that's going to be in the way. So I'm going to take my pasta. I'm going to put my pasta right in with the sauce. Okay, still on low heat. And I'm going to mix that all up together. Even sounds like Kraft Dinner or something when you're making that, right? Like, it's like nice and cheesy. Okay. See, like that. And I'm going to show you what it looks like on plate, because it's kind of different on a plate than it would be in a pot. So that's coming up in just 1 second. So this makes a nice small pot of, you know, look, if somebody wanted like a big helping to themselves, they could do that, eat it right out of the pot, or you can obviously put it on a plate. But it also makes enough for 2 people if you just want a little bit each, like kind of a lunchtime or light meal each. I show you what I'm talking about here. So like that amount, as you can see that, see? And what also I like to do is sometimes add a little bit of dairy-free. Here, I'm going to put this light on so you can see. My face might be in a glare, but you're going to see this package a lot better. Cheddar-style shreds. So this is like dairy-free, like not real cheese, but you know, a plant-based cheese. And so what I like to do sometimes is take a little bit and put it over the top of that, like a little bit of the shreds. And then there you go, right? So the reason why I don't put those dairy-free shreds, like, you know, like a dairy-free cheddar shreds into the sauce is because they will not combine well. They don't like to melt well into the sauce. And the first time I tried this, I put those shreds in the sauce, and it really was like stringy, and you could see the bits, and it really made the sauce look kind of nasty. It tasted okay, but it looked nasty. So I suggest don't put the shreds in with the sauce while you're making it. Use it as a topping if you like, and you can adjust your seasonings or whatnot. Add anything else you like. Like if you were into bacon, you could chop up some cooked bacon and put that into, or anything like that. And there you have it. Absolutely delicious. And it's completely dairy and gluten-free. And it's also nightshade-free too if you have a problem with that as well and you can't eat nightshades. So thanks so much for watching the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. See you next time.